Hey everybody, welcome to today's live stream. Hope everybody's doing good. So we're going to turn up one of the blanks that we made, the Halloween candy corn blanks. And the one that I liked a lot was the candy corn henge ones that we kind of stuck them straight up. So I wanted to turn that one up on the stream. I thought it'd be kind of fun. It's going to be kind of a quick, easy, short kind of thing because two things. I actually got to get going quick today. I know I was late and then I got to get done early kind of thing today, so I apologize for that. But it should be pretty fun to turn this and get it all polished up. And what I want to make out of it is just a simple, like, you know, paperweight kind of thing, just like a decoration. It's not going to be like a stopper or anything like that. I actually want to put it up at my house for Halloween, so it should be pretty fun. I'm excited to turn this thing. So if you didn't see what when we made them, it's under the replays, the live stream replays thing on my channel. But we made 3 of them, and we did a couple different things with candy corns in there. Now this one is up on my website right now. I decided this one was pretty cool. Everybody loves glitter, so that one's up for sale. This one was just kind of a little bit boring. So I don't know. I didn't necessarily think anybody would want it. I don't know. So I didn't list that one. I can turn it into something. Let me go get a link to the stopper. And then the other thing we did was we made the Choya pen blanks, and I'm loving these things. So I'll get a link to those as well. I'll just link to my short runs category on my website. That's where all the things that we just do, like, you know, on the stream, or I just do like a short batch of them. So here's a link to that if anybody wants to pick one up. Like I said, there's only one of only this one bottle stopper with the glitter, or you know, whatever you want to make out of it. But one of those up for grabs, and then there's 5 of these guys. Actually, there's already 2 of them gone, so there's 3 more left. But let me switch to this view. I'm digging these Choya pen blanks. I think they turned out pretty wicked. They almost look like little pumpkins in there or something. So pretty happy about that. Like I said, 2 of them I do know are gone. I actually feel bad because that person's order should have gone out today, but these were at the shop and I couldn't. I do my and I'm keeping one for myself, so sorry. But I had these at the shop, and I do my shipping at home. So I felt kind of bad, but that'll go out Friday. I can't remember who bought those, but anyway, so let me switch views. I already have everything chucked up, and so what I did was I just decided to go for a glue block. That's not the right one. Decided to go for a glue block on this rather than, you know, cut in a 10-in or something like that. And again, I'm not making it a bottle stopper. It's basically just going to kind of sit, you know, like on a table or something like that. So all I'm going to do is just dome this. And part of the other reason why I kind of wanted to do that, let's see if I can get a kind of a shot of this a little bit. Let me drop this down, bring this up a little bit, and I'll try and zoom in. And so I put, if you didn't see what we did, we kind of stuck the little candy corns in vertically, you know, when we cast it. And then I put some kind of the pewter, the smoky stuff. And I was really trying to kind of keep it where it was kind of going throughout the middle, but what ended up happening was it just drifted out to the edge. That's another reason why I don't really want to make this a bottle stopper or do intricate stuff or much work to it. I just want to kind of round this over so that we keep that kind of smokiness in there. I thought it added a little bit to the piece. And so it's just, like I said, simple, little rounded dome, and it's going to be kind of a quick one today. But we'll have a really cool looking ornament, I think, or not, you know, like decoration. I love that candy corn henge. So let's get this camera kind of situated where we want to go. I'm going to stop and go back to the chat and see who's all here. I didn't really get a chance because I was late to look and see who's all shown up. Is there any other news items that I can mention? I don't really think so. Go right there. Okay, so let me scroll up and see. Lots of people here. You guys were here early. Kim and Ray were here really early. And Exotic Tones and Woody's Wood Shop. Nice. I think I missed a few people. I'm sorry if I missed you. Billy Burt's here. How's it going, man? And Dominic's here. Mike McEwen. Nice. Good to see you guys. Hope everybody's doing good. So it's Wednesday, middle of the week. And Rich is here. If I was a college teacher, I wouldn't even show up if I was a college teacher. I'd be like, don't even show up to my class. You know, it's kind of interesting because a lot of, my brother-in-law is a PhD professor, and it's kind of interesting when you get up to that level, they have to do a lot of research. Like that's like actually most of their job. And like the teaching thing is really not that, I don't know, it's not as much of a focus. They're trying to do research and teach people. And so it's kind of an interesting duality when you get to kind of the higher levels of higher education. Kind of sad actually, but let's see. I think I got it. And Jen's here. Nice. And Scott. And Jay. Sweet. All right. So let's get going here. Like I said, I gotta get kind of going a little bit earlier than normal today. So I'm going to take these. I need to make sure that I take these pen blanks home in that stopper so that I can ship them out to people that order them. Whoa. I'm going to get my phone here. I don't know if there's anything else. So don't forget the ornament challenge is going on. I forget what the due date is. I think it's like November 9th or something like that. You got to get your ornament sent where they have it to Turner's Warehouse. Come on, open up. Here we go. I got me some chat going on. All right, so like I said, very simple. I'm going to true this up because it's not running perfectly true. I tried to get it fairly true. I just used a little bit of 5-minute epoxy and glued it onto this glue block kind of thing. So we'll true this guy up and then just kind of round over, dome it basically. And then we'll just, polish it up and part it off. It's going to be kind of a very simple deal today. So not much going on here, but that's the thing is sometimes you do something that's pretty simple. There's not a lot going on with it, but that doesn't mean that it's not cool. I'm actually pretty excited about this project in general. I think what I'm going to do, I don't really want to puncture that thing. So I got those little rubber Chucky deals. I'm thinking we're just going to put a Chucky on. I did there's a little pinhole in there, but I don't want to I want to save as much material as possible. So we're just going to use a little rubber Chucky. You could probably just use wood, anything to just kind of give it a little bit of pressure, a little extra, a little extra support. But it's not like we're not getting crazy with this anyway. All right, so just bump that up. Make sure you guys are seeing what's going on. I'm going to raise this up, bring you guys in, and then drop you down to kind of look over my shoulder here. All right. Let's see. Steve McDonald's here. What's up? Oh man, live chat's freezing on you? Man, if something freezes up on you, try refreshing the page. I know that's kind of been a problem for you guys the last couple streams. YouTube needs to get that fixed. All right, so I just got my mini, mine went blank, mini finisher is what they call this, but it's the mini round one with the CI3 negative rate cutter. I'm going to turn my fan on just to kind of blow the dust the other direction, not straight into my nostrils. I don't really like turning that dust collector on. It's so loud. I know it's not very loud for you guys, but it's pretty loud in my ear. I don't really love it. It's not my favorite deal. One of these days, what I'd like, and it's part of the problem that I have. So one of these days I want to plumb ductwork above, like hang ductwork for my, from my central dust collector system. And I'm always like back and forth on this because, I could have done that already, right? I've redone my dust collection system a few times. And I could have done it. It is pretty expensive. It'd probably be, I didn't run the full numbers, but to do full duct work and drops and all that stuff with, and I'd want to do it with the metal, you're looking at a couple grand probably, you know, to do it with all the, like the Nord Fab stuff, the ducting, and that's fine. Like I don't really, it's not that I really have a problem spending that money because I would really enjoy it, but my problem is I don't necessarily know if I'm staying in this shop or not. Really the plan is I'd like to leave if we can get into a house sometime, but I don't know when that's going to be, and so I don't want to install all this stuff, because that's the other thing is time installing ductwork and all that. That's a lot of time and money. And I'm like, if I leave in like 6 months for some reason, probably not going to happen, but it's tough. I don't know. When's the deadline? Because I've also been thinking about enclosing the casting area and air conditioning it, just to make things a little bit easier in the summer for me. But again, we're talking thousands of dollars to get all that done, and time. And if I'm going to leave, you know, within a year or 2 years, who knows? Like how long does it need to be before it's not worth it anymore? I wish I would have just done that in the beginning. Dang, still got just a little bit right there. I need to clean up here. I think I need to turn my cutter too. It's not really cutting very well. So let me do that real quick. But anyway, so eventually I'd like to get a full-on, you know, right now I have just a pretty standard, it's a big one, but it's just a Grizzly. Well, I have this one. That was my original dust collector. And that's just a piece of junk, but like maybe 1 horsepower kind of thing. But I have a Grizzly double stack 3 horsepower one, but it's just the standard, you know, bags and all that stuff, and it works okay, but like I'd want to get a Cyclone eventually. That's the way to go. But anyway, I don't know what I was saying. All right, I could just feel a little bit of vibration in there, in the middle, and I don't know why that was exactly, but we got it trued up now. All right, so that was pretty simple. I think I'm gonna just give it a quick, I usually like to come back with my, I tend to be able to get a little bit smoother cut with the R2 square. It's a 2-inch radius, very, very shallow radius. I have this thing set right. Let me look at this. Let me just look and see what I got. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. All right, so that's a little bit smoother. Now we can just back this guy off because we're going to come in and do a little bit of shaping here. And like I said, very, very simple. All I want to do is just give it a little bit of a doming. And I think that'll actually make the candy corns look kind of cool once we put a little bit of curvature. It'll make candy corn Henge, I think, look kind of interesting and kind of distorted a little bit. make it creepy for Halloween. What do you guys think? First things first, I'm going to come in. I'm going to move the camera a little bit so I can get in. I want to flatten up that end. Bouncing around, sorry about that. There we go. All right, so we got that running nice. Now let's see what we can do here with the doming it over. I'm going to probably be stopping every once in a while to kind of see where we're at, because I want to kind of dome it, but at the same time I'm also trying not to cut away that the kind of smoky stuff in there. So it's going to be kind of a delicate balance here, trying to get things the way I want them without cutting too much away. That's looking pretty cool. Just a slight little bit of doming. Got a little pin mark where I did use my center. So I'm just trying to kind of whittle away at this to get rid of that little pin prick in the top. Get you guys kind of down on the right level here and zoom it in. See that little pin prick kind of thing? Oh, whoa, whoa. Stop wiggling. There we go. Oh, and then I kicked the tripod again. So we just gotta keep working at it a little bit to get that thing going. Can't tell if that's a little indentation or if it's coming out at this point. Little kind of nib. Hard to tell. Looks like an indentation still, a little pinprick. All right, we're almost there now. All right, this thing's looking pretty good so far. Like I said, simple. This is not this isn't you know, mind-boggling wood turning. Very simple stuff, but you know, it's the cool thing is you can take also a bottle. You know, sometimes maybe you don't need another bottle stopper in your household, or you don't really want to try and sell them or whatever. This is another way to go with a bottle stopper type blank. It doesn't need to be a stopper, or you could even make it a stopper, but then just kind of leave the base so that you could just set it out as a decoration. So just another little idea. Feels like I got a little bit of a ridge right there. I'm gonna take off that ridge before we start sanding here. Yeah, there's plenty of meat up there. The problem that I'm having is I don't want to take away too much right here in this area, because that's where I think the smoke kind of trails are. So I'm kind of walking a fine line with, I want to keep those little smoky trails. Sometimes that's such a pain. And I think that it's just when it's sitting in the PVC pipe, things tend to kind of go to the edges of your mold. And so again, that's kind of one of those reasons why, like in this case, we didn't wait till the end of the working time really, I don't think. But that's another reason to kind of, for certain things, if you're trying to keep things kind of, you know, in a specific position or from bleeding together in the case of like dyes, you know, in some cases it just makes a lot more sense to wait till that end of the working time so that things kind of get locked down. All right, I think I've gotten that little bump that I was seeing. I can just sand all this out at this point too, but the better you can make it off the tool, the less sanding you'll have to do. Like at this point, I could almost start at the green Zona paper, I think. But I think we'll start at 400. I think that's plenty gritty for this. And if not, if it seems to be taking a while, then where did my scissors go? If 400 seems to be taking forever to get all the scratches out, then I'll switch to 240, and that'll get rid of everything quick. And we'll go back up, you know, up to 400 and then on. All right, so let's get this guy. I'm just gonna put this actually this way and see what you guys are doing here. So we'll slow it down. What, about 300 RPMs or so. I can already tell. Let's just go to 240 real quick. Where's my 240? I think it'll just speed up the process. A couple little tool marks, especially down at the bottom here. I still have just a slight ridge right on this kind of edge. And you can wet sand start to finish if you want. I kind of like to dry sand until I get all the tool marks out. It's just easier to kind of blow it off and see what you have left rather than having to wipe it down every time. However, water or some lubricants will help keep the swarf out of your grit from clogging up and also keep things cool. Bath bombs. Bath bombs in resin? I'm not even sure. What are bath bombs made out of? My first instinct would be that they would not work. I'm trying to think, what is in a bath bomb? Like soap? I don't know. You might be able to cast that. I have a feeling it might kind of just dissolve. Or it may cause a reaction depending on what resin you're using. That would be kind of interesting. I don't know. I might have to look into that. Nick is the master of doing stuff, though. I'm honored to be even in that category. Nick does some crazy stuff. All right, I think we're pretty good with the 240 grit here. Just going to kind of stop and look. The surface looks pretty good. I'm just going to do a little bit of kind of, sometimes that very center point, I'm already going pretty slow RPM, and then that center's it's rotating, like the speed of it is actually really slow. So it's not a bad idea on things like this to just kind of come back and just do a little bit of hand sanding right in that middle part to make sure that you've gotten it well. And I'm starting to really gravitate towards cleaning things off, like not just kind of blow it off, but actually getting some water. I got to clean refresh this water bucket, but like really wipe off. You could either use like denatured alcohol or, in this case, just water really, to get any grit particles off. So I was just using 240 grit. What can happen is some of the little grits, the 240 grits, break off, and they can be kind of, on the surface there. And so you could go through and, 400 grit and, higher 750 and all that stuff. And the problem is if you got a particle of, 240 grit that's still on there, you're still going to get 240 grit scratches here and there. There's going to be like one or two. And so that's just a good way to kind of make sure that you don't have just random stray scratches here and there. Is wipe off that surface. I think it's a really good habit to get into, and I admit that I don't do it all the time. I kind of try, but a lot of times I'm kind of rushing. But it seems like I get better results when I wipe off that surface for the reason that I just said. And it makes sense, It's not like the sandpaper, the grits. It's not like they just stay attached to the sandpaper. They break off, and the way that sandpaper works, abrasives in general, is little particles kind of break off and expose fresh surfaces. So, it makes sense. Makes sense. All right, so I'm going to get my little sanding doohickey there. I got my water, and I'm just going to wipe this off first. A little bit of Like I said, this is just water. Just to kind of clean off that surface and get rid of any particles that we may have. Actually, I'm not ready for this yet. We're gonna do a little bit of dry sanding with 400. First. Before that, I just want to look at my surface here and see make sure that I didn't miss any glaringly obvious tool marks. All right, so now we're going with 400. Super Mega, what's up? How you doing? Super Mega Incognito, I like that. I think it's funny that Super Mega Incognito comes in and is like, what's up? You'd think they'd be kind of hiding out, being all incognito. All right, so we got all the tool marks. We got everything nice and smooth, the surface of the material here. So now all we're doing is just removing the 240 grit scratches. In this case with our 400, and then we're just going to keep moving on up. So that's kind of the game plan. Now I'm dry sanding the first two here real quick, and then I'm going to switch to the Zona paper, and I'm going to go to water with those. That stuff works a lot better with water, I find, or some sort of a lubricant. All right. I'm going to stop this and just do, like I was saying, a little bit of kind of hand work here right in the center, just to make sure that we get a good amount of sanding done on that point that's not really rotating very fast at these slow speeds. Okay. Wipe that off. I think that's good. I think we did a decent enough job there with the 400. All right, and one thing I want to mention, if you didn't see these being cast, the way that this worked, let's get the camera kind of up above on this side, get the light out of the way. I'm going to do this. Oh, we're zooming pretty far in. Okay, so you see the black base? This was a two-stage pour. So I poured the black first, put it in the pressure pot, and then in about 30-45 minutes, I think it was 30 minutes, pulled it out, and then we cast, stuck the candy corns on, and then cast this clear. So if you want to see how that was done, there's not a lot to it, but I do know that a lot of people are kind of interested in those multi-layer pours for different reasons. They can be useful. So go and check out that live stream of us making it. It was not last live stream, that was the demolding of these, but the one before that. Okay, so now let's do a little bit of wet sanding with our Zona papers. I'm going to get a brand new one because I don't know where these have been. Do I have any new ones? I don't think I do. Okay, I got to go cut a new one real quick. Maybe I have some over here. I have all these like random chores that I need to do, and one of them is cutting up some little strips of Zona papers. So I buy this stuff. I buy the 8.5 by 11 sheets. That's how it comes. And then I just cut it into little strips to make it kind of simple and easy. And I just haven't had time, nor have I taken the time to cut up a bunch of little strips here. Another thing that I really need to do is I want to get one of those, shoot, where's my, there it is. I need to get one of those, I don't even know what you call it, like a paper cutter thing. It'll cut everything on angles and has fences and all that stuff. That would be sweet. That would really speed things up. All right, so we got a little bit of water on there. And this is the green Zona paper. You can get it at Turner's Warehouse. They have like the pack of all of them. I think I tried to kind of figure out what grit equivalent. Most people kind of understand grits. They don't necessarily. If you tell someone a micron level, and I don't necessarily know these things either. They don't give you a grit, I don't think, in the package. Let's see what I do have the little instruction thing. Yeah, it doesn't say any grits. It says microns. And so green is 30 microns, gray is 15. Then you got blue is 9, pink is 3, aqua is 2, white is 1 micron, okay? And so I was trying to figure out, like, what is a conversion? What is 30 microns? And I think that it's somewhere around 750 grit on the P scale. That's another problem with sandpapers. There's like the American one. There's the, I guess, European, I think, is the P scale. That's kind of what most people go by. And there's other grit levels. So 750 P or so, somewhere in that neighborhood, is I think what this is. But I could be totally wrong about that. We'll just give this a little bit here. Made with baking soda. Huh. I don't know what bullseye candies are. If they are hard candies, work pretty good. I think Jen was saying that. I've done. What the heck was that? I've done candy canes, and like, so that's just like a hard candy, and those things work fine. You do have to watch out if you packed a ton of them, like in a small space of resin with just a little bit of resin holding them together. Then like that would work, and as long as you're really just, if it's one of those things where you're going to pull it out of the mold and it's done pretty much, like you'll just kind of maybe polish up the outside, no big deal. But if you're going to be turning it or, you know, doing a lot of machining to it, it's really not stable. So you want to kind of use a little bit less in general. And like in this case, like I wasn't going, these things are soft candies. These suck for turning. They're just chewy, nasty, not fun at all, gooey, and not stable. And so but as long as you're keeping resin, like if you're just encapsulating the stuff, then it doesn't really matter what you put in there, if you can get away with that. So this is a pretty good way, and like, you know, so it's a Halloween decoration type thing, whatever. But you know, this type of idea, if you do like a multiple layer pour a little base, put some, you know, it doesn't really matter, even if it's like soft and gooey or something, you can put it in the middle and then totally encapsulate that thing with resin, then you're good to go, you know. I will say that I have seen some people try to put like food that would spoil in, which this, you know, technically kind of could. But for the most part, it's just sugar, you know. But like other things, I'm trying to think, like, I don't know, just off the top of my head, like pizza or something like that. I've seen people try to cast things like that where it's like it's gonna rot basically, and that a lot of times doesn't even work. You'd think that there's no oxygen getting to it, but I think there still kind of is somehow, and it's probably over time gonna look disgusting and could even give off a smell. So that's just a little side note warning about casting certain things. But other than that, I mean, if it's, you know, you can fully encapsulate something. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I was getting a little crazy there. I think that it is definitely to 750 grit at this point. So I'm going to wipe this off. Again, trying to get rid of any of these 750 or, you know, whatever, the green paper particles. And some people even get like a different bucket of water, which again kind of makes sense, but for each grit when you're doing wet sanding, I don't know if that's, I mean, I'm sure that, you know, if you want to take extra precaution, that would work. I haven't necessarily found that to be that big of a problem usually, but I don't do that ever. But it still makes sense, you know, like I said, there could be little 750 grit particles floating around down there. I'm hoping that maybe they kind of float mostly to the bottom, but I don't know. That's just kind of wishful thinking right there. And so this one is the gray, the second stage. What was the micron level on that? 15? 15 micron is gray, which I think is somewhere around 1150, 1200 grit, maybe 1000, somewhere in between those numbers. So I usually go up to, you know, 1000, 1200, something like that, and then I'll go and go over to the triple E buffing wheel. Pizza. Actually, I'm having pizza tonight. Yeah, Peeps are... Well, Peep would work. I know Peter did something with Peeps. Probably didn't work out too well. Peter Brown. But I'm not sure what happened with those. I don't know. One problem with Peeps is there's a lot of like air bubbles in them, and so if you pressurized it, you might have some issues there too. All right, I'm going to call that good. I think that's probably enough. Let's wipe this guy off. Time to part it off. And then we'll do a little bit of buffing. Nice. We still got some smoky trails in there. I'm going to kind of zoom you guys a little bit back here. Let me scoot this back. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Missed it. I'm going to put a little bit of water on there, and that'll kind of clear up what we're looking at a little bit. But we got some little smoky trails. I see some right in there. Yeah, not too bad. We got some effects. We got the little micro starlight glitter in there as well. Not bad. I'm digging it. Digging it. Okay, so let's see here. Got a pretty big scratch right there. I'm going to do a little bit of finesse work here. There's kind of this scratch thing going on the black. Black is really hard. Black is the hardest thing to polish, like dark colors. They just show every single little scratch. I usually find it's kind of a little bit easier to get away with more on just clear stuff. So let me just see if I can kind of get rid of that little weird scratch. Triple E buffing wheels oftentimes will kind of take care of some of those issues. That's not going away though. It can kind of help sometimes, but this one seems a little bit more persistent. What might have happened is I might have taken off some like a piece of wood or something like that and kind of scratched the surface. I don't know. Maybe I snagged a 750 grit particle. I don't know, out of the water bucket. That is not going away. So I'm going to drop down. You guys zoomed way in. Yeah. I'm going to drop down to the green one real quick, just to try and get rid of that. Because I don't think the Triple E buffing wheel is going to do it. Okay, it looks like that took care of it. So let's come back with this now. Definitely helps out to give it a good inspection before you move on. Like realistically, if I was not filming and doing all this stuff, I would have this light bright here, looking at the surface at every angle and just trying to make sure that I've gotten everything good to go. A lot of times on the streams, I kind of do a little bit faster. This was such a fast project that I have a little bit more time to kind of take my time, fix this a little bit. But the more you can spot off the bat, the better you are. Okay, so let's get this stuff out of the way. And I think I'll leave that rubber chucky thing on. Just give a little bit of extra support while I'm coming in with the parting tool. Let's get you guys above the action here. That ought to be okay, I think. I'm going to look on the screen over here. Yeah, that looks pretty good, I think. Hopefully it won't focus on, what is, oh, okay. Hopefully it won't focus on my feet or something weird. All right. That thing needs to be sharpened. I got to sharpen this thing real quick. Just not getting a cut. I'm going over to the grinding wheel. I'm just going to touch it up a little bit. Let's see, I'm way low. There we go. Too bad. I think I had my grinding wheel set up the right way before I took it down. I can't see anything. Okay, we got a fresh edge on there. I just do it by hand on the grinding wheel over there. Can you guys see in there? Because I can't. See if I can get a light somehow. Does that help at all? There, that kind of helps you guys, I think. Oh. Oh. The epoxy failed in the center, but it's okay. I think we're okay. Don't you hate it when that happens? Now I got to deal with this thing too. But I think we're okay. Might have like some little knock somewhere, but I can't see any major problems. So I'm going to go take this over to my drum sander, or not drum sander, my disc sander real quick. And I'll kind of point you guys in that direction. I was kind of hogging away at that thing, but I think the 5-minute epoxy just kind of failed in the center of that thing too. Okay, so I'm going to turn mute on for you guys because I'm going to turn the dust collector on. Okay, so we got a flat bottom, flat base on this guy. And I'm not going to really worry. This is going in my house, so I don't really care if the bottom is polished or not, you know. I'm not going to go through and sand it because no one's going to see it. What I am going to do though is I'm going to take some, let's see here. I think I'm going to take, so what do I have over here? 1500. I do want to take, do I have a 500? The heck, can't find anything. 360. Looking for something that's kind of, sort of high, here, 400, here we go. Sort of higher grit, but isn't the Abernet. Sometimes that Abernet you can kind of leave a little bit of a mesh look. And so what I'm going to do, this is just silicon carbide, but it's all, you know, smooth. I'm just going to kind of take and knock down this sharper edge here. After drums, oh, am I on the camera? Can I zoom this out a little bit? Oh, I guess that's about it. Just break this edge so it's not kind of sharp, you know what I mean? There, that's better. Okay, so let's do a little bit of buffing. So I got these are the Beal buffing wheels. We're going to first start with a little bit of Tripoly, Tripoly. I'm going to put my dust mask on. Let me stop and just see what you guys are saying in the chat. You guys are probably like, oh no, it flew off the lathe. Yeah, Chris, actually, I have links on my website. If you go to nvwoodworks.com and then just go to the tools I use, I got all that stuff, links, direct links to what I'm using here. What grit did I sand to? Around 11, I think it's around 1150. It's the gray Zona paper, which I think is somewhere around there. Let's see here. Okay, I don't think I'm missing any other questions. So I'm gonna put my dust. You don't want to be breathing the buffing dust stuff, the buffing rouge dust from this thing. So I'm gonna put my mask on, get a light going. Let's get this thing kind of. I guess I'm actually just gonna keep it like that. I'm going to kind of use that as like a raking light to kind of check my progress as I go. I really would rather have an even like an intense light, like a beam, rather than this, but this will do until I find the right thing. Basically, the right thing is that one that I have on my lathe is a great light, but I can't stand the gooseneck thing. And that thing's kind of tough because that blows out cameras. It's so bright. So it's give and take. It depends on what you're trying to do. These little LED LED panel lights work really well for just task lighting. And you can get these little, like, you know, just movable things with clamps and stuff. It's a pretty good way to go. I use them for, you know, I bought them for video, but because they work so well and they're battery operated, you can also plug them in if you wanted. But they work so well that I use them for task lighting a lot of times in the shop. But sometimes I like having an intense beam. And so, you know, I want everything. I want it all. Give me intense, give me diffuse. So these are 8-inch wheels. I got this lathe running, I want to say somewhere around 1200, maybe 1000. You don't really need to be going fast. Just let the buffing rouge do the work for you. I think that's looking pretty good. Kind of hard to tell. Like I said, it's nice having like a single kind of sort of a single beam, so you can kind of it points out like minor scratch things and stuff. It's easier to see on the surface sometimes. And with buffing wheels, you don't want to jam the leading edge of whatever you're buffing in first. You want it to be coming off and never really jam a hard edge into the wheel. It'll fling this thing out of your hand. Generally, you want to stay kind of on the bottom quadrant of the wheel. For safety's sake. I am going to hit the bottom of this thing just for the heck of it, even though it's super gritty. Just kind of clean it off a little bit. Make it not look so nasty maybe. All right, I'm going to blow this off real quick. Get this, there's little fuzzies and stuff. And then we'll do a little bit of white diamond. I'm starting to get to the point where I don't really know if this white diamond wheel does a whole lot. I think that I can just take this to the 105 Meguiar's car polish and pretty much save the step. But I haven't done a whole enough testing to say for sure. Dang it, looks like I got some scratches. I gotta go back. That black, told you the black can be a pain. All right. Now we'll go back to the white diamond. And then we'll finish up. I've started using car polish. For anybody that hasn't really been around, I'm going to speed this up just a little bit. And I'm finding that I get a really good polish using, and I've been pretty happy with Meguiar's 105. It's like a buffing compound. It's not so much car polish exactly. It's more of a polishing compound. I don't know. There's differences between all those car products. But I'm pretty happy with that, and just a little bit shinier, a little glossier with that. You know, this type of thing could be like a cane topper maybe too. I've never done anything like that, but I was just thinking like this, you know, gear shift knob, those types of things. So this idea of encapsulating something that you maybe wouldn't normally just cast has a lot of applications. You could even make this like a rubber stamp, probably. I don't know how they make those exactly, but something like this you could make as kind of a, I don't know, some sort of a, maybe like a rubber stamp. Anybody know how those are made? I'm imagining you can just probably affix the rubber stamp thing to something else. That'd be kind of cool. You could just squash bugs with it. I mean, that's useful. Okay, so let's spin you guys around. I have a different wheel that I use. It's called a string buff. For the car polish step, it's very fine, or like a soft, very soft wheel. Get this stuff out of the way. I like to try and kind of blow off dust and stuff. We don't want that getting in there. Come on. Okay, I'm gonna put this thing away. Time for some wax. And this thing served its purpose. I might use that again. Okay, so, and I found these string buffs on McMaster Car's website. I think it's a 6-inch, but it just seems to be the right softness. Beal sells an 8-inch string buff, but I find it's like way too soft. It just doesn't seem to do anything. It may have its uses, but with the way that I do things, I'm finding this one's actually better. And I think it's cheaper too. Oh, I missed a lot. Squash spiders, yep. Nut smasher, there you go. You get clear stamps, that would be cool. Hey, Doug's here, what's up, man? Yeah, I'm not particularly, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I have no plans to get on any planes if I gotta wear a mask. If I can't drive there, I ain't going right now. Just doesn't sound very fun. I was really bummed too. Well, there's other problems, but you know, just thinking about flying, we usually, well, this year we were gonna go to Hawaii, and I was like, and we almost went, and then we found out there's like a 2-week quarantine period, which I was like, so we're gonna stay in our room for 2 weeks. And then I was thinking about the plane ride, and I'm like, a 6-hour plane ride with a mask on? No thanks. I'm out. On top of all the other reasons why that's not a good idea, but this was kind of more at the beginning. We were debating when things weren't so cut and dry before everything blew up in Texas, and you know, like we had kind of that outbreak period. It was before that we were kind of debating, and I'm very glad that we didn't decide to go, because it wouldn't have been very smart, nor would it have been fun. Okay, so here's the Meguiar's 105, and like I said, I'm not saying that you should use this. This just seems to work for me. I think that anything will kind of work, probably. I think Ben over at Ben's Works, he uses like turtle wax. It's just, you know, whatever. This is compound. It's not really car polish per se, specifically. It's more of like a rubbing compound kind of thing. But there's lots of things like this anyway. You know, plastic polishes are kind of the same. These are all just different abrasives. And so you just got to kind of find one that seems to work for you. But it does seem to polish this thing up. So I'm going to run this about 1200. And I just apply a little bit to the piece and then just buff it off. Okay. Trying to keep my fingers out of this. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit more, get the bottom of this black part done. Oh, yep, that's what happens, guys. I was getting a little crazy. I was trying to get this stuff because there's like ridges in there, and I was trying to push hard, and it just snagged it. So I've thrown this thing all over the shop at this point, but luckily this is going in my house, and frankly I can't see well enough to worry if there's a scratch somewhere. That's what can happen if you get aggressive, because this wheel, you can get really aggressive with it and it's not going to grab it, but I had it on the back side with this sharp edge, and it'll just snag stuff and throw it out of your hands if you're not holding it tight. So I don't think there's really, let me see if there's a scratch somewhere. Alumilite's pretty tough. A lot of times it won't even necessarily scratch too much. Hopefully it landed on the bottom and bounced. I can't even see a scratch offhand. So I think we dodged a literal bullet. Huh. I don't even see a scuff mark. Maybe right there. Might be a little scuff mark there that you can barely even see. It actually blends in with the kind of smoky stuff. So I'm just going to give this a kind of a once more final little polish. And then I like to grab a microfiber towel to kind of wipe it off. I've recently learned the magic of microfiber. This stuff's pretty awesome. Let me go grab my microfiber towel, and then I will show you guys. This thing's looking good. I think I did a really good job polishing it. So aside from a few scuff marks from concrete, I think we're good. All right, so let's get you guys kind of over here. Zoom. I'm just going to kind of wipe this guy off here with this microfiber. Get any excess little polish off of there. But what do you think? That's looking pretty good. Get a little bit of that kind of warping effect in the corners there. I think I did pretty good on the black. It's polishing up fairly well. Maybe a scratch or two here, I don't know, here and there, but when it's just sitting on a desk or something like that, I think it'll look good. It's kind of cool from the side. Just a little bit of that smoky, that's what I was going for, just a little smoky kind of trail here and there. Pretty fun, pretty fun. I'm pretty stoked. You made it, Dave. Well, oops, that's the wrong camera view. Yeah, so I'm digging this thing. It's looking pretty cool. I don't know if you guys can kind of see from on this camera. A little bit of a wider angle there. But it's pretty cool looking. I don't know. Simple. I mean, it's no frills. You know, very simple project. But you know, like these things also. You know, if you're making gifts or you know, doing whatever, just making stuff or trying to sell things. I mean, sometimes the most intricate project is really not the thing that's going to make you money. Or if you're trying to just make a few gifts for somebody, let's say somebody was having a Halloween party, you could make a couple of these things and bring them as little kind of like, thanks for having us over gifts. Simple, you know, not too tough, but they are pretty cool looking. So hopefully that'll give you guys some ideas. And like I said, I think part of the reason that I wanted to do this was to kind of point out that like the candy corns, I really would not just dump them in a tray, and pour some resin around them and then make pen blanks out of them, because turning something like that, it's just so soft, it's just going to blow up and it's going to be a big mess. I've tried it, I didn't like it, I'm not doing it again. But if you can, encapsulate, these types of things that you otherwise wouldn't really want to turn, if you can totally, enclose it in resin and not cut into it, then you got something. Another thing that I also want to point out with this is, one of the things that I tried casting a while ago was, the little green army men. I was like, oh, this will be cool, And so I made some pen blanks, but when you're making a pen, the way that blanks work, you're just going to cut into it, and really what ends up happening is you're not necessarily going to see the item that you put in there, you're going to see patterns. So things like pine cones and honeycomb and things like that make a pattern in resin after you've cut it, turned it, and done all that. That's cool for like a Dunkin' Junk type thing. But, if you're trying to put something like army men in a pen blank, you have no clue what it is. It's just like a blob. But this is a much better way to do those things where it's like a super identifiable kind of neat object. Like army men would be best put in like the middle of a sphere or something where it's fully encapsulated. So just wanted to kind of mention that. There's a couple things that, make this a useful project, or that's a good way to use things that otherwise you really wouldn't want to be turning on. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed watching that come together. Like I said, it was a super simple turning project, but I don't know, sometimes those are nice. Also, that's a good type of project to do. If you just if you just need like a quick win, something quick to get, do a little bit on the lathe and then get out of there, that's a good type of project to do. So, yeah, ACC Plus and the deep pour. I do have bottles of that stuff, and we'll be messing around with that a little bit. So that'll be coming up. Don't worry. So, PCB, that would be cool. Let's see here. Why are there? The blue wrench is moderators on anywhere on YouTube. That indicates they're a moderator. Tried Toys doing game calls, nice, cool. Yeah, they got the power, guys. You got to watch out for Doug and Jen. And I see Brian's here, TBC Bushings. We were kind of talking about that. So we should be putting up, I think Casey's putting up, we just recorded an episode of the Resin Cast podcast, and we're going to try and start hitting that a little bit harder and like promoting it. We haven't really promoted that a lot. We were kind of, the first, I don't know, it's been like over a year now. We just did it, and it was fun, kind of a side project, but we weren't really putting a lot of emphasis on it. We didn't really mention it a whole lot. So now we're trying to do it every week. I should probably kind of mention that. So we're really going to try and hit hard on the Resin Cast podcast. So if you're interested in audio podcasts, Casey Martin and I are doing one called the Resin Cast. So you can search for it on iTunes or SoundCloud, or you can go to theresincast.com and listen to our episodes there. But it should be fun. We're kind of changing things up and having a lot of fun with it. So we just kind of were talking about bushings and stuff, because Casey's getting still waiting to get fully set up in his shop. Like he's building a shop, but it's not built yet. And so in all of his tools, he put in one of those pods things. So, but in the meantime, he wants to turn a little bit. So he's buying like a cheap lathe, and we were trying to figure out he's going to turn some pens, and he's like, oh man, I got to get bushings and all these things. And so just the bushings kind of made me think of that yesterday. So I think that episode, hopefully he got it up today, if not tomorrow. So be looking for that. Let's see here. I don't think I'm missing anything. So anyway, guys, I have to get going because I got some plans for tonight. We got pizza going on and some Dodger game. I don't know why they're playing the Dodger game at 3:00 p.m. Pacific time. That's just killing me. So anyway, we got a little bit of a date night with my wife, so I got to get going. But I appreciate you guys coming out to the shop, hanging out. So on Friday, we got, let's see, what am I doing on Friday? Thought I had an idea. I'm not sure what we're doing, but we're going to do something fun resin casting wise. And so come out 3 p.m. Pacific time for that. And I guess that's about it. And I am working on the 50,000 subscriber video, and I'm trying to lock in some discount codes and some I already have the prizes, but there's going to be giveaways. So be looking for that. I don't think I'm going to get this thing all wrapped up by this Sunday. Maybe, I don't know, we'll have to kind of see, but so be looking for it either maybe this Sunday if I can get everything totally wrapped up. The problem is I still haven't gotten all the discount codes, so I'm thinking that the video is going to be pushed off till next Sunday, so not this one coming up, but be looking for that. I'm working on that, and then after that one's done, I can't wait to get on that pine cone lamp thing, that big gigantic thing, and I finally just got a steady rest. I was kind of thinking that it's going to be a pretty big blank, and I think it would help to have a little bit of extra support while hollowing that thing. So I finally got a steady rest, and I have other projects that's going to be useful for coming up. So lots of things happening. But anyway, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Again, thanks for coming out and joining the fun. And I will see you guys all on Friday for a little bit of resin casting live.